The views and opinions expressed on this program are those of the producers and the individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the staff of the Sun Prairie Media Center, its members or underwriters, the board members of the Media Center Commission, Charter Communications, TDS Telecom, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hi everyone, welcome to Simply Fun Cooking. I'm your host, Executive Director Rachel Hanson, and today I have Nolan and his friend Alex joining me in the kitchen, and I'm super excited because we have some really fun new Pampered Chef recipes to share with you today. We are going to make a dinner for two for Valentine's Day. It's coming up and I know you need some ideas. So we are going to make some root beer barbecue ribs, some rosemary garlic roasted potatoes, and a rum cake for dessert. Doesn't that sound good, guys? Yum, yum, yum. So we're going to get started. We're going to start with the cake so we can get that in the oven while everything else is cooking. How does that sound, guys?
We get to eat the cake first.
Well, we don't get to eat the cake first, but we're going to make it first. All right. So we are going to have these guys do as much of the cooking as possible. They said they want to do everything today. So we're going to start by mixing up some dry ingredients for our rum cake. All right, so we have, this is the kids' measuring spoon set, or the measuring cup set. Love it. And what's really cool is that the measuring cups, first of all, they all snap together, which I love. But these cups are different colors, and that makes it really, really easy for the kids to help out in the kitchen. So first thing we need some almond flour.
I'm going to do the first one.
You want to do the first one? Okay. Well, we're going to use two different scoops. The first one we need is,
Can I do the next one?
yeah, we need 1 cup. So that's the orange one. Can you find the orange one?
No one can do the orange one.
Okay. And then we're going to need another 3/4 of a cup, which means we're going to need a red one and a green one. Look at that. Okay, so we need one of each of these. We need to scoop it and put it right in this bowl.
Mom can do that.
Okay. So go ahead and scoop it. And remember, when we measure dry ingredients for baking, we want it kind of flat, right? Kind of flatten it out a little bit. All right, and go ahead and, we're going to pour that right into our batter bowl right here. Good job. All right, Alex, you get your scoop. All right, so we're adding 1 3/4 cups of the almond flour, and then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of regular flour as well. Now, if I was working with some older kids in the kitchen, maybe my 6-year-old, when we're measuring things out, this is a great way to work on fractions, right? Because we needed 1 3/4 of a cup. So we have to do a little bit of math here with these measuring cups. And it's really great to get your kids working on math in the kitchen also. How are you guys doing? All right, we're going to add a little bit of salt. All right. Now, we're just going to mix that gently. We're going to mix it gently, and we're going to set it aside. Now, we're going to cream some butter. We want nice, light, fluffy, creamy butter. And the best way to do that is with a stand mixer. So, all right, we need 3/4 of a cup of butter. You want to dump that in? So that's 1 1/2 sticks. Very good.
Can I do the next one? No, me do the next.
Well, first we're going to start by making this light and fluffy. So what we're going to do, we're just going to put it on here. We've got our paddle on there. And we're going to set this to about medium speed just for a couple minutes just to get it nice and light and fluffy. All right, so the butter, we're going to let that kind of fluff up for about 3 minutes. And then we're going to add some sugar. We're going to gradually add about a cup of sugar until it's all nice and light and fluffy and combined. Yeah, we'll work on that in just a second. The other thing you want to do is to get your pan ready for your cake for the oven. And we're using the fluted cake pan. I just greased it a little bit, put a little bit of flour in there. This pan is so nice, and it's so nice non-stick. Things come out of it so easily anyway. You guys have seen that before. But depending on what pan you're using, you might want to grease it and flour it a little bit. So I just did that just so you guys could see. All right, yep, you can keep going. All right, so after we have the sugar added, we're gonna let this mix for about 4 minutes. We'll scrape down the sides. Yep, he's going. We'll scrape down the sides of the bowl, make sure everything gets mixed together real nicely, and then we're gonna add 4 eggs, one at a time, and let them mix really well. Yeah, that sounds like a good plan. All right. All right, we are going to add eggs one at a time and combine them. And so these guys are going to take turns. So I'm going to make this real easy. We don't want to lose any eggs. We want to make sure we don't get any eggshells, so I'm just going to crack it right into the little measuring cup. All right. And then, Alex, you can go ahead and dump that one in. Good work. All right. And now, Nolan gets to do the next one.
And I get to do the next one, and Nolan, and I know.
That's right. Okay. Add that one in. Perfect. Now, after we get the last egg added, we're going to let it continue to mix for a few minutes. We'll scrape, no, dump it in. We'll scrape down the sides of the bowl. Dump it in, please. Oh, eggs are fun to watch, aren't they? We'll get the sides of the bowl scraped down. It might be kind of a clumpy batter. That's okay. And then we're going to start adding our flour mixture. All right, go ahead and put the egg in, bud. All right, so our batter is on the clumpy side, and that's what we expect right now because we just have the eggs, the sugar, and the flour. Let's try that again because there's no flour in here. All right, just a minute. Our batter's on the clumpy side because all we have are the butter, the eggs, and the sugar. So we're going to slowly add the flour now.
Can I do it?
You guys can help. Yes, absolutely. So we're going to just kind of start this up on a real low speed. Okay? And now we have our flour mixture. No, we can do just one little scoop at a time, okay? So we'll just do one little scoop and carefully tap it in.
Can I do this?
Yep, you guys can take turns, okay?
Are we going to add all of it?
Yep, all of it's going to go in. So get this up nice and close. Yep, a little bit at a time.
My turn.
And you want to wait a few seconds in between each addition of the flour. So this is perfect that we're taking turns. Make sure it doesn't, oops, not too much because you don't want to spill on the table.
My turn.
All right.
And
Now, once all of the, whoops, careful. Once all of the flour is added, we're going to actually scoop out a little bit of this mix, and we're going to mix in some rum, and then we'll put it all back in and lightly mix it. And then we'll get this in the oven, and we'll get this baking, and while it's baking, we're going to get our ribs and our potatoes ready to go. All right. We're just going to give the bowl one more scrape down the sides and mix it just for a couple more seconds. All right, now we're going to take about 1/2 cup of our mixture, and we're just going to put it in a little bowl. All right. And we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of your favorite rum. Okay. And we're just going to whisk this together.
It's a little bowl.
Yeah, it is a little bowl. That's all we need, just need a little bowl. And we're just going to kind of whisk it together, get that, that rum mixed in there, incorporated.
Are we doing a little bit at a time?
Well, we're doing this just because you want your batter to be kind of lumpy. That's how cake batter is. Do you know why you want lumpy cake batter? If you have lumps left in your batter, what that is, it's like little pockets of the flour that didn't fully get broken up. And so what happens is when you are baking your cake, the moisture from the cake, as it's rising through the cake, it'll dissolve those little pockets of flour. And then you'll leave behind these pockets of air. And so it makes a nice, light, fluffy cake. So that's why we're just going to whisk the rum into just part of it here, because then we can pour this all back into the rest of our batter mix it carefully, and we can still have a lumpy batter, because this part's kind of smooth now after being whisked. But we need to do that just so we can get the rum nicely incorporated. So we'll make sure we get the rest of our batter in here. We're going to very carefully pour in the part we just whisked together. All right, so we're just going to take our batter and we're going to put it into our fluted cake pan. All right, Nolan, you want to help scrape it in?
Can I?
Yep, we'll take turns.
There.
Very gently, yep. We got to get it all the way around.
Can you have to get in? No.
All right, so after we get this batter in here, we're just going to kind of tap the pan on the counter a little bit just to kind of even out the batter. And then, thank you, kiddo.
No, it's my turn.
I'm going to get this part.
That is my turn.
All right, so we'll just tap it down to even out the batter. And then we're going to throw this in the oven at 450 degrees for about 45 minutes.
Cook this in the guts.
All right, so we're going to take this, just kind of tap it a little bit. All right, just to even it out just a little bit. All right, so now this is going to go in the oven, 450 for about 45 minutes, and then we're going to move on to ribs. All right, so root beer barbecue ribs. This is going to be an interesting recipe, and I'm really excited to share it with you. It's delicious, and it's unique. All right, so we're going to just start with a rack of ribs, about 3 pounds worth. And we're going to get this opened up. And we're going to cut this into 4 sections so it can fit in our quick cooker. And we're going to put a little bit of smoky barbecue rub on here first before we put them in. And then we're going to add some barbecue sauce and some root beer. And we're just going to set it in the quick cooker on the beef setting and let it sit and cook. And we'll get our potatoes ready while. All right, so we're just going to take our knife here and we're just going to cut it into 4 sections. And this just allows it to fit in the quick cooker really well. It does smell good, doesn't it? All right, so we'll just take our sections and we're just going to layer them in the quick cooker. All right.
Can we do 4 rectangles?
They kind of are 4 rectangles, aren't they? Yep. All right. All right, so I'm just going to take a minute to get this washed up, and then we're going to add our other ingredients, and we'll keep going. All right, so we've got our ribs in the pot for the quick cooker. We are going to add, one of you is going to do barbecue sauce, and one's going to do root beer. Who's who?
I'm doing root beer.
Okay.
I'm doing barbecue.
Perfect. Okay.
By the way, I don't like barbecue.
What? Love barbecue. All right, so we need about 1 cup of barbecue sauce. Whoops, careful.
It farted.
All right. All right, so that can go into the pot. All right, so about 1 cup of the barbecue sauce. Yep, just kind of tap it off, get it all in there. And then we need about 6 ounces of root beer, which is about 3/4 of a cup. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're going to throw this right in the quick cooker.
By the way, Mama doesn't like root.
I love root beer. All right, so throw this in the quick cooker. We're just going to turn this to the
And by the way, Alex.
beef and pork setting, and we're going to hit start. And now this is going to bring itself up to pressure. It'll cook for about 35 minutes, and it'll be ready to go. So while this is cooking, we're going to get our potatoes all ready to go, and then everything should be done around the same time. We do have a little bit more we need to do with the cake, but we'll get to that in a bit. All right, for our rosemary garlic roasted potatoes, we're going to have the little guys here cut up the potatoes, and we've got a really cool tool for that. And we're going to add a little bit of oil, some garlic, some fresh rosemary, and a little bit of salt. And then we're just going to throw these in the oven, also at 450. Just wait. Also 450 for about 12 to 15 minutes. All right? So, yep. So we take the veggie wedger. Yep. You just kind of set it there. And then push down.
Can you help me, Mama?
Of course. All right, now take those pieces and put them in the bowl.
That's
All right, so we're using little gold potatoes today. But you could use any kind of potato you want for this recipe. Little red potatoes would be really great also. But this is a great way, a great recipe to use when you have some potatoes left in the pantry and you need to figure out what to do with them. A great way to use them, give them a lot of great flavor. And it's a little bit different than, a baked potato or a mashed potato that you might usually make. Lemons and limes, oranges for the kids. It makes perfect wedges. And if you like making French onion soup, this is the quick and easy way to get all those onions prepped and ready. Wait, let's get all the way down. There you go.
No, I'm going to do this one.
All right.
Okay.
Got it? I love these kind of tools that the kids can use to help cook in the kitchen, help cut up the veggies, but they're safe to use because their hands are not under the blade. And it's safer than a knife. Yep, so you just have to get this lined up with those little... Oh, I can smell those ribs already. It's only still coming up to pressure, but I can already smell the barbecue sauce. It's going to be so good. All right, perfect. So we're going to drizzle a little bit of oil on there. Canola or olive, grapeseed, whatever kind of oil you want to use. Just a couple tablespoons.
That makes it yummier.
Yep. All right, you can set that off to the side. We are done with that. Perfect.
And we're back. Hey, give me my...
You want your root beer? All right. So what we're going to do is I'm just tossing these with that little bit of oil. And then we're going to get them out on our sheet pan. And we're going to put a little bit of garlic on there, a little bit of fresh rosemary, and a little bit of salt. And then we'll toss them a little bit more just to make sure everything's all nicely coated. All right, I know the kiddos are really excited about this one. We're getting out the herb mill. All right, so we're going to take our rosemary. I'm going to show you guys what to do, okay? All right, and we're going to put the rosemary in the herb mill. So what we're going to do is you're going to take, this is called a sprig of rosemary, okay? You're going to hold it, and you're going to take the little herb stripper, and you're going to put it on here like this so that the stem is going through one of the holes, all right? And you just pull. And then all the rosemary comes off, and we can put it right in the herb mill. Sound good?
Can I do it first?
You guys want to do that?
Yeah.
All right, you work on that. See how this goes. All right, I'm going to add just a little bit of salt onto our potatoes here. And we're going to add some fresh garlic. With the garlic press, I'm just going to kind of spread it around, and then we'll mix it again before we put everything in the oven. Now with this leftover rosemary, because we're not going to use all of it, there are some really great things you can do with it. It'll keep pretty well for quite a while, but there is a really great cranberry Collins drink recipe that you can make. And it's especially nice in the winter months. It goes really nicely with, these potatoes that have rosemary in them. And it's like a Tom Collins, but it just has cranberry flavor. You make a rosemary simple syrup, which is really easy to make. You just make your simple syrup, and you put a sprig of rosemary in there for a few minutes just to let those flavors infuse. And then you can make your Collins, make your drink, and you can take some of the rosemary, and you can use it as a garnish. So get all of our rosemary in there. Perfect. You don't need to put it on the cutting board. We can put it right in here. Okay, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take the herb mill, we just snap it together. Now that ceramic ball helps push all of the rosemary down to those gears, and we just hold it up high over our potatoes and twist. Okay? Yep, here, so you hold that up.
Bring the pan over here.
Yep, bring the pan over and twist. All right, I'm going to get the garlic ready while they're working on that. Love the flavor of fresh garlic. Love not having to get garlic all over my fingers. The garlic press makes it so easy.
I want to try.
You want to try squeezing the garlic?
Mm-hmm.
All right, go ahead.
Now I get to do this.
Good job, bud.
I want to do that. Can I do that?
Yep, let me get the next one ready for you. Take this shell out.
This is onion.
It's garlic. I put about 4 cloves on here. They're tiny cloves. The recipe calls for 2. But again, it's your recipe. You can mix it up however you want. And I really like garlic. All right.
See, I didn't want to do it right there. I want to do it right here.
All right, how are we doing over here? This looks pretty good, you guys. All right. So then we're just going to take.
Big hole.
We're just going to take the tongs,
Mama.
toss everything a little bit more,
Mama.
just to get it coated. Yes, sweetie.
Can I have some more pudding? Can I have some more pudding?
We don't have any pudding. All right, so we just want to make sure that we get that garlic distributed over all of our potatoes. You got that oil on there. We've got the salt on there, that rosemary.
Put it in there.
All right, so now we're just going to lay everything out in a single layer. And we're going to throw this in the oven. It's going to go in at about 450 degrees. And we're going to start with just 12 to 15 minutes. Then we will check our potatoes, we'll rotate them, and throw them back in for a little more time if needed.
Mama, can I have some
All right.
more?
Don't those look great? All right, so we're going to go ahead and put these in the oven. And we're going to get the next.
Can I have some more root beer?
You need to stop talking, please. And the answer is no. We're going to go ahead and put these in the oven, and then we're going to finish what we need to get done for our cake. All right, now, when our cake is done, we are going to take a little bit of rum simple syrup, and we're going to pour it over the top, really let that soak into the cake. And then we're going to make a little icing to go on top. Now, the rum simple syrup we're going to put on pretty close after it comes out of the oven, but the icing is going to go on after it cools, and it needs to cool for an hour and a half. So kids won't be able to sample that today. Don't tell them. But the simple syrup, really simple. It's equal parts sugar and water. So we're doing 1/4 of a cup of sugar, 1/4 of a cup of water. That's it. We don't need a whole lot for this. All right. And then we are just going to heat this up on the stovetop just until the sugar is dissolved. We're going to pull it off the heat and add just a tablespoon of rum. All right, look at that, so quick and easy. It really only takes about 2 to 3 minutes on the stovetop. Now you don't need to bring this to a boil, you don't need to bring it to a simmer. You really just heat it up just until that sugar is completely dissolved. And then we're gonna add about a tablespoon of rum, a little extra. Never hurts, you're making a rum cake. All right. And we're just going to mix this together. We're going to set it aside. It'll stay warm for a while, especially in this pan. And we're just going to let it stay warm. When the cake comes out, we're going to take just a tablespoon or 2 of this and kind of drizzle it on the cake, let it soak in while it's cooling in the pan for a bit. Then we'll flip the pan over, take the cake out, and we're just going to take a basting brush and brush the rest of this right on top. All right, now we're going to get our icing made. We're going to get this made and just kind of cover it and set it aside because we're not going to need it for a little while yet. This goes on at the very end once our cake has cooled. So we're going to start with just about 1.5 cups of powdered sugar. And I'm just going to whisk this together in the batter bowl. And so I'm just using the measurements on the side.
Can I whisk it?
You're going to whisk it?
Yeah. Whisk.
All right.
This will nice to the next part.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to add about 2 tablespoons of milk. Yep, you guys are going to be able to whisk together. Yep, you hold that. Nope, just hold it right here. I'm going to pour it in, and then you dump it. Ready? Dump. And 1 more. dump. Okay. Now, when you make an icing, there's, a recipe to start with, but you add either a little bit more liquid a little bit at a time, or you add some more powdered sugar, depending on if you want it to be a little bit thicker or a little bit thinner. All right, so about a teaspoon of vanilla. So we're going to whisk this together. Now this is an icing, so we don't want it really thick, but we don't want it really thin either. We just want a nice consistency that we can pour over our cake.
It's super thick.
All right, yeah, we got to get all the stuff on the edges. Now, if it's too thick, all we do is we add a little bit of milk. If it's too thin, we just add some powdered sugar. And this actually looks pretty good, just like this.
We need some milk.
No, this is going to be really, really good right here. And then we're just going to drizzle this all over the cake, like I said, after it's totally cool.
Can I try to mix it?
Yep, you can try to mix it.
Can I try to?
While they're working on that, our potatoes are done. They are out of the oven. And we are going to check on our ribs because the quick cooker just told me that it's done. So we're going to bring that over. Now we're going to start by releasing all the pressure so we can check on our ribs.
Well, that's a lot of food.
Oh my gosh, guys, it smells so good. Yum. All right, once that little button goes down, you know that all the pressure is let out, and then you'll be able to open it up. Oh my gosh, you guys, this looks so good.
Can I see?
Let's see if we can share with you guys.
Can I see?
Can you see that in the close-up? Okay.
Can I see it?
Look at those ribs. Don't those look
Can I
great?
see?
Yes, don't those look fantastic? All right. So what we're going to do is we are going to get our meal all dished up so we can give it a try. One thing you can do is you can add more barbecue sauce on these ribs, or you can take the barbecue sauce and the root beer mixture that's already in here. We can take the ribs out and we'll just turn this on sear and kind of bring it up to a boil and let it simmer down a little bit. Then you have that nice thick sauce with the juices and the flavors from the ribs that you can go ahead and use. All right? So let's get this dished up. Oh my goodness.
Let's get this dish up.
Oh yes, so there are some ribs.
Let's get this dish illy.
And I'm gonna bring over the potatoes. Steam because it's nice and warm. All right, look at these potatoes. Nice and golden brown. Well, you guys can share it and you can try out this delicious dinner for two.
And Alex is gonna get 2 ribs.
Yeah, you guys can share. All right. All right, doesn't this look just fantastic? And it's gonna be so great with some of that extra sauce on top. Now, for your adult dinner for 2, I recommend pairing this with a red wine of your choice. The red wine's gonna go really well with that nice smoky barbecue flavor that you've got going on, okay? All right, now remember the cake is finishing up, so we will get some pictures of that for you guys in just a little bit. But first, it is time for these guys to give this a try. Are you guys ready to try it? So when you are getting ready to have dinner for 2 for Valentine's Day with that special someone in your life, keep these recipes in mind as some options. They are quick, they are easy, and they are so delicious. Perfect for a great night in with just you and your special one. So I just want to give Sunshine Supper a thank you for letting us use their amazing kitchen once again. For those of you who are local in Sun Prairie, coming out on a Monday night for a free meal with the community. And if you would like these recipes, you want to learn more about these products or anything else, go ahead to pamperedchef.com. You can search for me, Rachel Hanson, or your local Pampered Chef consultant. Have a great day. Thanks for joining us. Can you guys say goodbye? Say goodbye, everybody.